Assalamu everyone. I hope everyone's doing great. Today we have an interesting lab by Cyberdefenders called Midnight RDP Lab, and this lab is here to assess our threat hunting skills. All right, and as you can see here, we have 20 questions to answer. I already did the lab, but let's do it together for the sake of practice. And what's really nice about this lab is that it got the tactics of the MITRE ATT&CK framework, which can help you to from initial access, execution persistence up to command and control. Yeah. So if you are into threat hunting, this will be a good lab for practicing. All right. So let's start by reading the scenario. The scenario says an IT employee at Infinitec Solutions has reported unusual activity associated with their email account. However, upon investigation, it was discovered that the employee work credentials were leaked in a recent data breach. The employee had used their work email to register for a third-party platform, which is something, of course, you shouldn't do, which exposed their credentials. Threat actors leveraged these credentials to log into the employee corporate email account and send phishing emails to other employees within the organization. So your task is to investigate the incident by analyzing logs, determining the scope of the attack, identifying if any users interact with the phishing emails, and uncovering the impact of the phishing campaign on the network. All right. So here we have a nice point that you know we know for initial access the threat actor used email, right? And that's what most of the time what is used for initial access, right? So let's read the first three questions related to initial access. So here they're asking which email account was compromised and used to launch the attack. All right, so they're asking for an email account that was used to send the, let's say, the executable or the malicious file to the other email accounts. So what we can do first here is that we can head to Splunk interface and check for the indexes that are receiving the logs. All right, so we can say event count. All right, okay, summarize equal to false and index equal to asterisk. All right. And as you can see, we are receiving all the logs in this one index, which is called main. All right. So we'll be using it. Okay. Index equal to main. So in this first question, we need to focus on the email account that was compromised and used to launch the attack or send to other, emails. So what we can do is we can look for a field related to from, or a string related to from. So we can type from. All right. So we're looking for anything related to a sender. All right. Wait it till it loads. All right, after it loaded, as you can see, we have here 74 events. If you're looking at some of the logs here, it says from root mail okay, mm, okay, root mail at Infinitec, okay. So it interesting. We have this domain of the email, which is at Infinitec solution.xyz at okay, okay. As you can see here also in this event, you can notice this name Amavis. Amavis is like an email content filtering platform. All right, it's a pass lane. Okay, we have here message ID. All right, we have here. Okay, yeah, we can, as you can see here, message ID at Infinitec. We can see it subject agent, zero trust complete. All right, so this is of course suspicious subject. We have here the sender from TY Infinitec.xyz, user agent round group, okay, and so on. All right, so what we can do in order to see something more clearer, we can copy this domain, all right, this email, and we'll put the domain name, right, instead of from, and all right, and we can, yep. So we can look at, have an idea of what kind of conversation, or who's sending, who's receiving, and so on. All right, we're down here to 99 events, and as you can see here, we have the two postmaster Infinitec. All right, Okay, nothing suspicious here. Okay, we can see here to Ahali Infinitec. All right, someone sent him. All right, okay. As you can see also here, we have a successful login for this user, Wrinkles Infinitec Solutions, from this IP, which is a public IP. All right, which is of course suspicious. All right, so we can assume this is one of the victims, but we need to get all right, we can see here Amavis, the same email content filtering system platform. We can see the user agent, the suspicious subject, and so on. So we can maybe go to the fields. For instance, we can filter for fields related to the sender. We can go from, and as you can see here, we can have you know we have two senders, or we have T White and Postmaster, and T White has sent like eight emails, right? And Postmaster is two, so we can assume that this might be the compromised account. But let's look at the two, or the receiver. As you can see, for the receiver, those are the receiver. So let's structure it in order to have a better idea, right? So let's say index equal to main and Infinitec. All right, it's good. And let's say we want to filter for we want to extract some, some information from this Amavis content filtering system. So we can take the from, all right, we can take the to, we can take the subject, we can take the user agent, which is not important for, but all right, we can just, take the from and the to. All right. All right. What we can also do is that I have this saved, just to save our time, I have this query, which will list for us, the sender, the receiver, and it will extract the from, the subject, the sender, from the Amavis content filtering. All right. So once we click this one, all right. Yeah. So as you can see here, we have the sender. We have the sender to be T White, the receiver to be this G Baker, Lopes, Richard Hold, and Ahali. All right, and the subject is urgency trust compliance verification. So with confidence, we can say that the compromised email account with this this account, T White at Infinitec solution.xyz. So, and indeed, it was the answer. Question number two, it says, after identifying the compromised account, attackers sent phishing emails to other employee within the organization. What are the names of those employees sorted chronically and separated by commas? So as you can see, these are the receivers, or the employee who were sent the email. So we can see the first name of the email: G Baker, Lopes, Ringe Solo, and Ahali. It's difficult names, but yeah, so as you can see, these are the names exactly. Yeah, these are the names. All right. And the third question, all right, related to initial access. What's the name of the malicious attachment that was sent from the compromised account? All right. So as you know, um, we have here the subject, zero trust compliance verification, but we also know that there is something attached to it. So we have to look for fields related to attachments, right? Fields related to any kind of attachment and so on. So what we can do here, we can delete this one, and we can only focus on the email, this one, in the email content filtering system, and we can look for any kind of string related to attachments, content, and so on. Right. So we have here 600 events. Okay. All right. So I'm a vis. All right. Yeah, so as you can see, we have something called content type. It's a text plain. All right. Um, just look for, this might be. So let's look for, yeah, you can see a content type, Amavis, text plain, SHA1, okay, and so on. So we can assume that uh, the fields, or the string that's related uh, to the attachments, or files that's executables, is this one, content type. So what we can do, we can put it like this, and we can filter for any kind of attachments. All right, so we are, as you can see, we are down to 15 events. So here, content type, text plain, okay. And this is actually logs from the email filtering system. Okay, content type, text plain, okay, nothing suspicious. Content plain, text plain. Here the name for the file for this one, cloud zero trust compliance.rdp. All right, so this is actually the name of the malicious file that will, or the malicious attachment that was sent, as you can see, because it's under the content type. Yeah, so yeah, we can also find here content type, cloud zero trust compliance, cloud zero trust compliance.rtp. So it's a remote desktop, which is also used, to heavily leveraged by attackers to, conduct their attacks and so on. So yeah, we can assume that this is the name of the malicious executable or the malicious file. So if you go down here, indeed, it is the cloud zero trust compliance.rtp, the same one. All right. Question number 4. Okay, we finished the initial access part. We go to execution. Upon analyzing the user interaction, which employee downloaded and executed the malicious attachment? All right. So how can we find the person who has downloaded the file and might be interacted with it? We can look at the malicious attachment, which is this one. We can copy it, right? And we can look for the sysmon logs and so on. Control V, all right, and let's analyze. Yeah, so as you can see here, we have 12 events, right? So we have here Cloud Zero Trust downloads, okay, under the user, Rinkless, under the download folder, under Rinkless, also here, under Rinkless. So you can also go down here and look at the user. The user here is AD rinkless. Yeah, so this is the user. If you go to the path, if there's a path here, process path, as you can see here, it's using MSTSC, which is a Microsoft remote desktop, which is also used to, run the or like run the RDP process in the Windows. Okay, process. Yeah, we have this process MSTC and MSH. All right, so process name. Yeah, so this is the process. Okay, so yeah, so let's see the command line. There's command line. Okay, no command line. Wait. All right, so let's wait here. Yeah, so as you can see here, IT01, the user in the download directory or download folder of this user, Rinkless. All right, remote desktop connection. Okay, and this is the rule name. Okay, okay, the SHA, we have the SHA. Everyone, okay, we have the image or the parent process image, which is MSTC, which is also used, to run this RDP files and so on, which is responsible actually. All right, so yeah, so obviously from this we know that there's only one user who interacted with this file, and it is Rinkless. All right, so the Rinkless is indeed the answer. So question number 2. On the DC machine, a DLL beacon was executed by the attacker in memory. What's the first 10 bytes of the SHA-256 of the malicious DLL file? All right. So what's, DLL beacons is used like mostly for command and control. And, what attackers usually do is that they use frameworks like, Cobalt Strike to, you know, uh, post these, beacons, like let's say to have like a fileless virus or the fileless kind of attacks where they target the memory and so on. And if he assumes that, we can look for this host, DC01, okay, let's delete this one. All right, I look for the host this one, DC01. Yeah, this host. All right. What else are they asking? Okay, they're asking for a DLL beacon. All right, so what we can do here is just we can look for PowerShell, because usually when attackers use DLL beacons, they leverage Cobalt Strike. They also leverage PowerShell, right? So what we can do is just event code for PowerShell. All right. Sorry. It's the sysmon logs event ID for PowerShell execution. All right. Yeah. So it's like yeah. So it's like for 4104. From what I know, 4103 is also. No, it's not process execution. It is wait. Yeah. So event ID is for process creation. It's not relevant. We're looking for uh pro, partial execution. All right. So no. Yeah. So we have, I think, a number of okay, event account manage schedule task and so on. Okay. We don't really care now, but okay. Let's just say it's just 4104. So what we can do here is look for the event code. Can copy this one, right? And we can come here, post it 4104. All right. Or 4103 is also working. So yeah. So as you can see, these are the events related to the PowerShell, and as you can see, we are seeing a lot of obfuscation or encoded code. All right. So as you can see here, if you go down, yeah, as you can see, um, yeah, as you can see, this seemed to be you know uh, DLL injection or DLL beacon, all right, which is related to memory, right? So we have here get delegate function. Okay, so yeah, so what we can do is actually filter for this one. All right, so let's look at the any kind of special unique IDs, okay, activity IDs. We can add to search events. All right, we can filter for this one, and we get 33 events related to this ID. All right. Okay. It's loading. All right. So what we can do actually, if you look at more fields like a message number, um, yeah. So as you can see, it has a message number of 33. Okay. If you look at this one, it has a message number of uh, 32. Wait. Yeah, it has a message number of 33. Okay. And this one. Okay, wait. So we can simply, since oh, we can filter by or sort it by message number. So as you can see, message number 28, right? So it's in a chronicle way. So it's a number way. So what we can do actually is we can sort it by message number, right? So what you can do here, come down, sort message number. All right. and we can let's say table the table the script itself. So we look for any kind, not script ID, yeah, the script block text, anything related to the field related to the PowerShell commands, and we can table it. All right, so as you can see, we can see here, this is the function. All right, so this is the function. So what we can do is just upload it to PowerShell, and you can use the get file hash function, right, to get file hash attribute to get the hash of this file, and and you'll find the answer, because I have a Microsoft Defender loaded. So you better use upload this in a PowerShell in a virtual environment, and then you can get the file hash related to this PowerShell command or this PowerShell script, so on, right? So yeah, so this is the answer actually, and so on. So you better run it, upload it in a virtual environment, because if you have Microsoft Defender, it will not allow you to run the script or save it, so and so on. Yeah. So yeah, see you. Coming to part 5, to this part, which is persistence. We have 5 questions. So question number 1 says, following the establishment of the malicious connection, a file was dropped onto the system. What's the name of the file dropped? All right. So what we can do is that we know that the malicious attachment is this one, is cloud0trust.rdp. So in order to know the the file that has been dropped, for instance, we can look at the process that was responsible for this attachment to run, right? And we know it's from our previous investigation, it's mstsc. As you can see here down, right, this one, mstsc.exe, which is actually responsible for running, RDP related process in Windows. So what you can do actually, in order to know file, the file that has been dropped, we can look for event code, all right, 11, event, all right, event code 11, and also we can look for the process that has been handled with, which is this one, ms.exe. Sorry, let's type it, and mstc, right? And we'll look for, so event code 11 will look for any kind of file that has been created. All right, so if we go down and look at the file name, we observe the file name called fx.temp, and this one, this executable, ztssbc.exe. All right, so if we look here, this is the host, actually in the compromised machine, which is IT01, event code 11, everything. All right, the user is Rinculus, of course. Okay, and the file name, as we have seen, is wait, file name. Okay, this is the process responsible. All right, so the file name is actually found it here. This file name, as you can see, it's this one. ztssvc.exe. And from what you can notice, it's in the startup uh, directory, or startup path, which is actually a common persistence mechanism used by attackers, so that whenever the system is rebooted or shut down, and whenever you want to start your PC again, this program will run automatically, because you have it in a startup folder. So yeah, so we can assume that the file that was dropped is actually this one. All right, and this is indeed the answer. I'm going to the second question regarding persistence. To maintain a longer term, the attacker established a scheduled task on the compromised machine. What's the name of the task? All right, so another persistence mechanism that the attacker does is that they uh, they run scheduled tasks so that you know whenever the process is shut down or the malicious attachment is shut down, the it will schedule in a specific time that the attacker has set. So what we can do here is easily we can monitor for event code 4698, which is related to scheduled task. So okay, 4698, and you can check it from Google. Event code 4698. Okay, it's related, as you can see. Provide information on newly created schedule task and okay. Anyways, let's run it. All right, it's loading. Okay, so we have 4 events here. Let's look at the task name. Name. Okay, not this one. Task name. Okay, subject domain name. ED. Okay. Subject username. Okay, ringless. The task name. Yeah. So the task name here we have okay. Task name here, as you can see. The interesting task name here is we have Amazon Zero Trust Agent. All right, so we can assume that this is the task name that has been uh, uh, scheduled by the attacker. Right, so we have a OneDrive standalone update task, OneDrive reporting task AD. So this is actually in the user path. So we will assume that this is the the task that has been created by the user or by the attacker. As you can see here, we have the event code, we have the source, the machine. All right, this is the task that has been created. Yeah, the task content. All right, yeah, okay. Uh, all right. What's the other question related to persistence? As part of the persistence strategy, the attacker created a new user account. What's the name of the unauthorized user account? All right. So what we can here do that what also attacker do to maintain persistence is that they create a new user accounts to maintain a better persistence in case of that. For instance, their main account got deleted or uh, noticed by the defenders, so they will try to make new accounts or uh, guest accounts in order to privilege escalate it maybe in a later process. So we can here, for instance, delete this one, and we can look for event code like 4720, which is related to account creation, and we focus in this host, on the compromised machine host. All right, this is actually 4720 task name, and we'll delete this one. Okay, yeah. So there's only one event. So yeah, so we know that there's a one user that has been created. If you go down to the fields, if you go down here to user, all right, so the name of the user created here is administrator. Yeah, this is the name of the user that has been created, administrator. No, wait, this is the user that has been created, target user. Yeah, okay, yeah, target username is administrator. Yeah, administrator. So this is the account that has been created by the attacker in the compromised machine. And here are some information from the fields, the rollouts, wrinkless, of course, administrator, yeah. So yeah, so indeed this is the answer. If you go down, administrator is the answer. And this is usually, it's usually used by the attacker in order to, evade detection because uh, they're using common names so that defender doesn't notice the name because he'll think it's an administrator account or something like that. So yeah, this is also a common tactic or technique used by the attackers. So question number 4 is asking to facilitate remote access, the attacker modify remote desktop setting. what's the name of the registry value that controls whether the desktop RDP connection are permitted. Yeah, so also part of the persistence that attackers try to check if the RDP is enabled or disabled. So if the RDP is disabled, they will try to enable it by changing the registry key or add or modify the registry key. So in order to look at this, we can first look at the if of the at the Cobalt Strike PowerShell commands, because it will help us have a better view or a better understanding of what kind of chronicle order or commands were executed by the machine. So we can filter for event code 1. Yeah, we can filter for event code 1, and also we can look for, let's say, any kind of encoded command, any kind of strings related to PowerShell. All right, and yeah, run it. And they're asking in which machine. Okay, since it's in the compromised machine, yeah, we have only one hit here. Okay, as you can see, let's sort it by command line. Yeah, we have here 17 command lines. All right, so let's have a table command line and sort line. All right, yeah, as you can see here we have the commands and the sorted uh and sorted by time. All right, so what we can do is to analyze, for example, this is the schedule task that was created by the user. So we assume that the he modified the the registry after he created the schedule task. So we can look for this one. We can copy this one, and let's try to decode it and uh, from base 64 using cyber chief. All right, so of course we just paste this one here, remove this one. Oh, sorry. All right, and from base 64, and let's decode the text here. Decode text, this one. All right, and let's choose 68 and let's bake. All right, so from the since we decoded it from UTF and base 64, we can see that the get IT property, this is the registry path, and the name is f deny test connection, which is actually responsible for the RDP connection of the machine. So the attacker will try to modify this registry key to enable the RDP connection in the machine. So yeah, so this is the name of the registry key, and indeed, if you go here, it's the answer. Yeah, if deny TS connection. And why it's really important to first identify the PowerShell, because you can have an overview of what the attacker did. All right, so here he created the schedule task. Here he did he modified the registry key, right? He changed the registry key. And here so you have a better idea of what step he maintained, like down to the MITRE attack framework, or like each step. So you may find here privilege escalations, related activities, and so on. So it's better to analyze in this manner. Okay, the last question related to persistence. It says um okay, it says here, further probing revealed a new user account created on the DC. What's the name of this account? All right, so here we can easily monitor for um monitor for event code 4720. As we have said before, it's related to account creation. 4720 and run. And it's actually in the DC machine, right? So the domain controller host will choose this one, domain controller, and we'll look for the user created. All right, so we have here, I think, 22 users. All right, so right here's okay, target username. All right, so what you can do actually, simply make a table of users to analyze it better. User, and we know that it's in the ringless user, but if you can look at this, we have two ringless. We have this one and this one, but one of them is misspelled. If you look here, here it's RNICHOLS, and here it's RNICLOS. Yeah. So here the H is miss. Here we have the real name, and here we have the H is missing. So this is most probably the account that has been created, because one techniques that's used by the attacker to evade evasion, or to to defend themselves from being detected, is that they will use a username that's close to the real one, so that they don't bring suspicion to themselves. So yeah, so we can assume that this is the actually the user that has been created by the attacker. So, and indeed actually it is wrinkleless. On to the next stage of the MITRE framework, which is the privilege escalation. So this question says, investigating the escalation technique, what's the last 6 bytes of the CLS ID or class identifier of the privileged COM interface that the attacker exploited? Okay. However, in order to find, the techniques that was used for a privilege escalation, we have to first find, the method that this techniques was used. All right, and that was, of course, by dropping a file. As you can see from this question, to escalate privilege, the attacker dropped another file into the system. What's the name of the file? All right, so what we will do here is that we'll first start to investigate the name of the file that has been used. Later, we'll observe and investigate the techniques that's used. All right, so in order to find any kind the type of file, I have prepared a query already in order to save our time. All right, so I've prepared a query here, and we can go to Splunk, and this query says, we'll search the index main and this source, and for the event code 11, which is for file creation, and this in the compromised host machine. All right, so we'll search for the target file name, which contains exe or DLL. All right, and we'll sort it by time. And what we'll do here actually is to look for any kind of file that's related to, privilege escalation techniques, and we'll look at it. All right, it's searching. It's searching. All right, we have here 282 events, and as you can see, this is Amazon Zero Trust complete.exe. We have this one, which is in the startup the folder, okay, which is also used for persistence. We have a name called akage64.exe. We have here get help. We have the first file, which is used as a beacon, and it's also put in the startup, which is to maintain persistence. So let's start by investigating this one, akaki.4.exe. All right, we can go to Google and just paste it to look if it have any kind of a relation with privilege escalation. And as you can see here, it just took us to a GitHub repository. All right, something called UAC, right? So as you can see from the question, also we have something uh, related to UAC or COM. Okay, uh, let's read it. UACME, defeating window user control using built-in window auto elevate backdoor. All right, so we know that this is something related to privilege escalation, and we can find the name of the file. As you can see, this is the name of the file here, and this is like a tool set, right, used for to bypass, yeah, UAC bypass, user access control bypass. All right, so we know that this is the file responsible for the privilege escalation. All right. Since we know this file, we already know this is the file responsible. What we can do actually is to investigate the file in order to look at the, the this class identifier for this technique of privilege escalation. So what we can do actually here, we can copy this one. We can delete all this. All right. We can delete this one and we can paste this one. We'll look at events related to this file, which is used for privilege escalation. We have 6 events. All right. All right. As you can see here, the image. Okay. In the starter folder. Let's have a look at the command line. Okay. If it's command line, right? Command line. As you can see in the command line, we have the beacon, the first one, which was posted in the startup directory. And we have, okay, this one, the Akagi 64 with the 43 parameter, all right, and the user wrinkleless, okay, and so on. All right, so we can look for this parameter maybe the GitHub repository, Control F, 43. All right, so because each technique has its own parameter, 18, 20, we look for 43. All right. This is 43, as you can see. This is the type, it's author, order, move, derivative. The type is COM interface, elevated COM interface, which is actually the same techniques which is found in the question, which is privileged COM interface. All right, and this technique, okay, uses 2 methods: the color data proxy and ICM util. Okay, the targets. Okay, it works in Windows 7 implementation. We have this. All right, we can investigate all its source code from the GitHub repository, of course, but in order to save time, we're looking only for the class identifier for the privileged com, right? So the methods used here will look for the class identifier for the color data proxy and ICM Lua util, all right, to see if each anyone matches this or hint. All right, so what we can do actually is just to copy these ones. We can go to the source code, of course, the source code. Okay, we can go to shared. I already know where it's located. All right, so you can go to the const.c. Yeah, this one. All right, and let's search for these methods. For example, this one. All right, as you can see, this is a class identifier, which is a unique class identifier for the color data proxy, for the file operation, for everything. So you can see that this is the class ID. All right, but we want the last one, right? So the last 7 bytes, which is this one, 7CE 93, which is of course the same thing here. So yeah, so this is how we find the last 6 bytes, sorry, for the class identifier of the privileged com, because this is the method that was responsible for the privilege escalation. All right, on to the next part. All right, the next question. Okay, we answered this one and this one. Now, coming to defense evasion, here it says the attacker sought to modify the system behavior to weaken the security settings. What's the name of the registry key that governs the user access control prompt setting for the administration user? All right. Uh, as you remember, we observed here in persistence that the attacker tried to modify the register key for the RDP, right? Which is by modifying the key of F deny TS connection to to enable the RDP connection and the mesh. So what he's also trying here, he's looking to modify a key. So what's the name of the key? What we can do also, return to the same steps that we did, is to identify the PowerShell process that the attacker has executed and try to decrypt each one of the process, right? So also to save time here, I have already wrote the comment here. So we save our time, right? And all right, so here to look for event code one, which is process creation, and the command line, all right, with the unique, and so it will be sorted with time. And as you can see, for example, here in this one, it created the schedule task, which is used for persistence, right? In this one, okay, let's say, for example, let's before the creation of scheduled task, uh, let's look at this one, for example, copy it, go to cyber chief, right, and try to decode it, right, control F, control V, right, and from base 64 and decode text, all right, and this one. All right, so as you can see, he tried to modify the registry of FTD9TS connection, all right, which is this is related to the RTB, so this is not what we want, all right. We'll let's look at this one is for scheduled task. Let's look at this one, all right. This one is okay related to scheduled task also. So okay, it's not our topic. Let's say this one, right? All right, this one. All right, so as you can see, this one is related to a key called consent prompt behavior admin, okay, which is related to, of course, defense evasion registry. We can look for it in Google, for instance, as you can see, consent prompt behavior admin. Let's see here, what is, okay, it's loading. Anyway, this is the registry key that is responsible for, you know, uh, to responsible for the UAC prompt setting or user access control setting, which is also used by attackers to evade detection. Right. So consent prompt behavior admin is the register key in Windows that controls the behavior of the user account, for administration admin approval mode. And we have also seen that the user is using the UAC bypass privilege escalation technique. So we can assume this is the name of the key, which is already found here, of course. All right, this one, right? So what's the next question related to defense evasion? In an effort to avoid detection, the attacker moved the beacon to a protected system directory. What's the name of the relocated malicious file? All right, so we know from here from questions in persistence that the beacon that's used for privilege for persistence, and the name of the file is this one, ztsbc. All right, so what we can look is that we can copy this one, the beacon, and this beacon was in the startup directory, all right, so which is also used to maintain persistence. What we can look, so we can look for, okay, look for event code of 11, right, and look for the file, right. It's loading. All right, we have three events. Let's search for fields, all right, related to path. Okay, we have, for example, in the image, okay, we have the image, this is it's already in the startup folder. All right, so let's say make a table or stats count by image, all right, and This is image is the original path. Okay, file name. Okay, so anything file path. Okay, file path, file path, image, file path. Okay, and file name. All right. Okay, okay. Let's delete this one. Okay, let's create a table. Sorry, table. Control C. Okay, file path and all right. Okay, let's make it purpose mode. All right. For some reason, it starts counted by. All right. Let's just make the table. Okay. Let's look at the image. Okay, it's capital I. Makes sense. Okay. All right. So as you can see, this is the image and this is the file path. This is the first. All right. This is the beacon, which when it was in the startup directory, and then as you can see here, it was moved to the Win32, you know, and it's relocated as the malicious name of Amazon Zero Trust Complete.exe, right? So, and this one is the same beacon, but it was, when it dropped the file called Akage, which is used for privilege escalation, and this is the process responsible for the RDP connection, which dropped this one in the starter folder. So what we can do that in order to evade detection, it has dropped or it has relocated to the directory of Windows System 32 with this name, Amazon Zero Trust .exe. And why did the attacker do this is because, most of the legitimate or almost all legitimate process and programs are found in this directory, which is the Windows System 32, which is the administrator directory. So the attacker relocated it to this directory. He relocated the beacon to this directory in order to evade detection by, antivirus software and so on. So yeah, so this is the name of the Amazon Zero Trust Complete.exe. This is the name of the beacon where it was relocated. Now we'll continue to the discovery part and answer the question. So here they're saying determining the attacker first move on the compromised machine. What was the first command executed to gather the system information? All right. So for this question, we can look for the index main, right? And we can analyze the file which was used as a beacon, right? So this file was used as a beacon from the question number, the persistence part. Okay. Okay, and we can analyze it for the compromised host. The host was the IT01, and let's see. Let's analyze the command line, or it has been executed. All right, we have 951 event. All right. Okay, since what is the first command? All right, so we can look for event code 1, event code 1, to look at the process that has been created by this file. All right, we have 14 events. Let's look for fields related to command line, and to look what we have parent command line. Okay, this is the process, the command line. Let's make it as a table. Table, command line. All right, so let's sort it by time. All right, so as you can see here, uh, here they're saying what was the first command executed to gather system information. All right, so as you can see, once the file was dropped in the startup directory to maintain persistence, the attacker executed the command called whoami groups, to find, the privilege of the compromised machine. So we can say he went to this one whoami groups, and then he went to this command. Okay, we can analyze it in Cyberchief, and then he went to drop the Akaki, which was used for privilege escalation. All right. So what you can do that any the command that is related to discovery would be this one, OMI groups, because the user is trying to identify which machine is he in, or what's the privilege in his current compromised machine. So this is the answer indeed, as you can see. Okay, for lateral movement, okay, he said which tool did the attacker use to move laterally on the D Caesar one, right? So lateral movement, as you know, is like when the attacker maintain or compromise the machine, he want to,